Hi, I'm Alison Nicholson, the French coordinator in IWLP at the University of Reading. In this short screencast, I'm going to look at how to write a really great essay in French. Doing grammar exercises is one thing, but embarking upon a 250-word essay in French may seem daunting. However, once you understand some basic principles, it is all much more achievable. First of all, what do you write? Look at the essay title. You need to address all the separate sections within the question. Do not miss any out. All aspects must be covered with relevant content. Don't feel tempted to include a paragraph you remember from school days or a page you wrote as part of a homework unless it's relevant to the question. Anything not relevant may actually count against you. Try not to include any sentences which are unclear. Here you'll see the marking criteria for content and communication and what you need to do to obtain a first-class mark for content. Here, 7 or more out of 10. Remember the word count, so there is no need to write a lot. Much better to write a concise, relevant essay that covers every aspect of the question and spend your time planning, checking and writing creatively. So how do you write creatively and concisely? So to keep to the point, write a plan. Write it in French, no full sentences, but reminders to yourself of how your essay will progress and where you might be able to incorporate a few key grammar points or vocabulary. Here you'll see the essay title from the final exam at Level 2 French in 2015. You can see the different parts of the question in different colours. You can now pause this screencast to read a sample essay plan based on the same essay title. Now you know what you're going to write, you need to consider how you're going to write it and therefore which key grammar to include. Think about which areas of key grammar have been covered this year on your course. Look at the grammar pages in your textbook. Go through the PowerPoint presentations from your classes and make a list of the key grammar you want to demonstrate. Let's look at the marking criteria for grammatical accuracy. You'll see that to achieve a 2-1 in grammar, you need to write an essay where the key grammar is sound, but you can have occasional minor errors. This requires checking and double-checking your work. It's so easy to miss off an agreement of an adjective or get spellings and genders incorrect. But if you do this often, you may be awarded the classification of frequent minor errors and slip into the 2-2 category. On the other hand, if you manage all your verbs correctly and attempt all the more complex structures taught during the year, you'll be moving towards a first for grammar, which a few students manage each year. If you're unsure which count as the advanced structures, then please ask your tutor. Before you start writing your essay, you should be aware of which structures to include. These are often listed for you by your tutor as part of the homework during the year, but they're not listed in the final exam. Perhaps you should write yourself a list of key structures when you get into the exam room. This is a way of adding complexity to your work. The final area to consider is called range or variety. This is where you can really demonstrate any independent work you've done, such as vocabulary you've learned through reading the short books available in the library or the Self-Access Centre, or vocabulary learnt on Quizlet. Perhaps you've worked through the BBC website such as Ma France or Talk French and picked up different vocabulary, or found a good website for practicing grammar. You need to show your knowledge of something different which stands out from the others. It's vital to avoid using the same word. For example, je suis allé is good once, but there's no advantage in using it again and again. Say instead, j'ai marché, or, for example, j'ai pris le bus instead. Or you could say, nous sommes allés, to show variety within your verbs, but you must try to avoid repetition at all costs. Here you can see the marking criteria by which your range and variety of language will be judged. In order to be awarded a first, look at the grade descriptors for marks 28 or more out of 40. You need varied vocab, or better still, rich vocabulary, no repetition, and again, use of key structures giving variety. You can pause this screencast now to read an example taken from an essay which was awarded a first-class grade for range and variety. Remember then that you're only asked to write around 250 words, but you should make every sentence count. Your essay will be worth 40% of your final exam, so it is worth practicing throughout the year. Bonne chance!